So big moves are happening across crypto and traditional finance. We have the U.S. Federal Reserve gearing up for a digital asset conference. We have analysts calling for XRP to outperform Ethereum. And even Morgan Stanley is now signaling rallies ahead. Let's dive in. Hey guys, diving straight into it here. We have the U.S. Fed to hold a conference on digital assets amid challenges to leadership. So the Fed Governor Lisa Cook attempts to argue against her dismissal in court. The central bank said it will hold an October event to address innovation in payments. U.S. Fed Board has scheduled a conference to discuss topics related to payments, including stablecoins and tokenization. This is night and day from what we saw a year ago, right? Night and day. So this is exciting news. The Fed said October 21st, the conference would address emerging stablecoin use cases and business models, as well as tokenization of financial products and services as a part of its efforts to innovate the U.S. payment system. So this announcement came right after the entire Fed board, Governor Christopher Waller, rather than Chair Jerome Powell, provided comments on the event. So this is exciting, right? This is exciting. It seems like October is going to be Uptober with all the anticipation on not only Fed rate cuts, but now we're seeing more clarity from the Federal Reserve and potentially on ramping a blockchain and providing clarity for stablecoins and whatnot. So this is what we're seeing, right? So very exciting times. And to be honest with you, there is a ton of anticipation for this conference on digital assets right there. So a lot going on. You have one Fed governor attempting to argue her dismissal in court, and then on the other side you have the Fed pretty much rolling out a criteria saying that we're gonna not only explore this, we're gonna provide some clarity on this as well, and how we can utilize these systems, this technology, to make things seamless. So the legacy system is pivoting for sure. So we will be diving very deep in to what's happening in October. So next up, analysts abruptly accumulate one low cap altcoin, predicts XRP to outperform Ethereum. This is big. So analyst Credible, we love Credible, saying he added that he thinks XRP can outperform. He's saying, looking at XRP, the analyst predicts that the payments altcoin is primed to outpace Ethereum, which has ignited strong rallies over the last 2 months. Saying here, looking at the target here, we see that the XRP to ETH comparison, he's seeing pretty much the same divergence we've been calling as well, except he's on the XRP ETH pair. So that is definitely something that a lot of people are not paying attention to. A lot of people are calling, oh, alt season is over, right? This is what we're hearing. But if we look at these charts, right, taking a look at the charts with Bitcoin, we're seeing the divergence play out. The only next step is I want to see a break and close above this level. I want to see a break and close above this level right here. We can even mark it here so you guys know what I'm talking about. Break and close above, I think it's about 113, I believe, 113 or so. Let me throw it up here. So yeah, break and close above 114. Sorry, 114. I want to see a break and close above 114 to essentially make a new high and change the directional bias. This is a break. This will be a full breaker structure. The divergence is still in play. As you can see, this is price is going down. The stochastics are going up. That's a bullish divergence setup. That shows that that's a high probability, right? Nothing's guaranteed, but it's a high probability that we should go up. Basic TA. We're seeing the same thing with Ethereum. I marked it up for Ethereum for you guys to see. We see stochastics coiling down. We see price going up, right? Okay, so this is a divergence as well, but very much so, it's showing that a new high should be formed, especially as we're nearing that oversold territory on ETH. It isn't much lower you can go for ETH. So we'll see if we hold this entire level here. Any breakout to the below, this becomes invalid. But I think we're gonna hold. We already broke out of this triangle a little bit to hold, to go up towards the high area of 4,800. So that's what we're seeing on the charts. Looking at XRP held, respected our wick perfectly. We did post this on X for you guys to see. We did have this level of support there, bounce right off of it, guys, bounce right off of it. Now the only thing is with crypto, right, and this is what I caution you guys that are trading crypto on leverage, that if this breaks and you guys aren't using stop losses, if this bottom breaks for whatever reason, right, you will get wrecked. just putting it out there, you will get wrecked. But the TA is holding true, holding sound right now. I'm just letting you know there's a lot of space if we break this floor. There's a lot of space if we break this floor. Next level of support is until about 250, and if that, next level it's a lot. So we'll see if we hold. Next up, we have analysts are saying about XRP outperforming. That's good news, because XRP, like we said before, is, I think, a sleeping giant, right? I don't think it's coincidence that XRP is in these articles. XRP is being talked about by the CIO of Swift, right? And he came out and said that more so talking bullish on Ethereum. So there seems like to be an Ethereum push now, which is why I was telling you guys, like, back when people were saying Ethereum was dead, that might have been a good signal to accumulate. That might have been a good signal to accumulate, not when everyone's saying it's bullish, right? I think you just got to think differently, like we talk about all the time. And next up, we see Morgan Stanley as well making the news. Morgan Stanley predicts more rallies for the stock market. It says bank remains buyers of dips. Now, the reason why this is important, because typically when stocks go on a rally, crypto goes on a rally as well. It's not really moving independent of each other yet. Typically they move in unison with each other. So this is good news, especially for everyone waiting. If we get through September and everyone's waiting for October, we call October Uptober, because historically you see some great rallies in October. And I was in a space and there was a question of, is the 4-year cycle over? Right? I don't necessarily think the 4-year cycle's over. I think the 4-year cycle is going to be different, right? I don't think it's going to be cut and dry anymore like we used to when it was mainly retail, where you're getting in, you know when to get out. It's very strategic. You know what's going on because we went through it cycle after cycle. I think you have a lot more institutions. You have governments in the mix as well. So you have whales in the mix as well. So I think things are going to be a little bit different. I'm not there to say it's going to be over, but I think it's fair to say, based off of everything we're seeing here and all the adoption that we're seeing, that it's going to be different. And that's okay. It's good. So they're expecting a rally. Traditional markets are expecting a rally in the stock market. And that's important for crypto, because typically, like I said, when stocks rally, crypto rallies 9 times out of 10 with the stock market. So we see here CoinMarketCap neutral, fair greed, but overall just everything's in limbo. Everything's waiting. There's nothing really booming right now, right? We look at the gainers, like there's low caps that are in the gainers, like nothing really sticking out there. Even the news with like Chainlink, we can take a look at Chainlink quick. Even Chainlink, it's moving up almost in the top 10. But even the price action for Chainlink, I mean, it's nowhere near its all-time high yet, so it's still a good play. But they had some great news come out regarding pretty much being the reporting for the U.S. Department of Commerce, utilizing their ecosystem for that. So as Charles Hoskinson said earlier this week, they know they're sitting on a gold mine, so now they can be in negotiations with pretty much any crypto they want and set their own price, because they have the stamp of approval of a U.S. government agency. So Big shout out to Chainlink for that. But still, from a price standpoint, they're not even near their all-time high yet. They still have a ways to go. So have a ways to go. Their all-time high is about $50. They are under halfway there. So still a lot of room for accumulation across the entire markets, guys. Across the entire markets, because you see the gainers. Like, you don't really see any gainers really that are worth, I wouldn't say worth anything, but that are very appealing right now to sell, right? I think everyone's on the sideline for selling because you want to see where this is going to take us, and that's going to end up with people holding on too long and riding a pullback. That's typically what's going to happen. And a lot of people probably took profits. That's why you saw some dumping. You had some whales dumping Bitcoin, going into ETH, which is fine. But I think it's safe to say that we're not there yet, and the accumulation is still there. We're still accumulating as well, especially because none of our assets are anywhere near the all-time high. I think right now we're accumulating more XRP, and it's more so a legacy thing than anything to hold for 5 years. So XRP is near the all-time high, so it's a little bit against our rules. But I see the writing on the wall with XRP right now. Ethereum, we were packing our bags with Ethereum for a while, so we're just riding it right now. Just riding Ethereum. And what else? Cardano, we're actually coming out with a video on Cardano on Saturday, I believe. Gonna break down Cardano. There's a lot of animosity, a lot of disappointment with Cardano, but this is how Cardano is, right? If you don't know anything about Cardano, do your research. This is just how it is, right? It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to get to the point where people are going to say it's dead, and that's when you're going to see this, right? So imagine, like, we've been in Cardano for a while, so imagine riding this. This is exactly where we're at, right? A little bit higher, right? So that's why it's not a no-brainer to say $7 to $10, because we're higher than the previous lows back in 2019, 2018. So imagine riding this 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, and then finally at the beginning of 2021, boom, we take off, right? And then by August of 2021, it hits a high, right? That's a long time. So what we're seeing here is the same thing. 2020, let me see here, 2022, 2023, 2024, now 2025, we got a pop accumulating. If history repeats itself, right? If history repeats itself, 2026, $7 to $10 Cardano. If history repeats itself, right? So that's the name of the game with Cardano. Cardano is gonna take their time, right? Cardano is gonna do their thing, and then it's gonna pop. That's typically what happens, despite the frustration and how annoying it is sometimes, especially if you're looking for price appreciation. That's just how ADA rolls, unfortunately. So it might actually be fortunately. Like, if you're gonna, it's a long-term play, right? It's a long-term play. By now we've been holding for God knows how long, for years now. It's just a long-term play, and Cardano has zero downtime, right? And actually have had some hack attempts, have had people try to take over the network and do all that. Cardano, it runs by far the most secure blockchain that I've seen, hands down. So I believe when the time is right, price will reflect the value Cardano is doing. Looking at HBAR, similar story, but not exactly there. Pops up, comes down. I think its all-time highs around 40 cents. And we see that even amidst all that, right? HBAR is coming out with a lot of news. You go on their X, a lot of news with HBAR. Official news. All right. So I believe there was a government I think it was Israel or some country that's going to be on-ramping, utilizing Hedera, right? So they have a ton of bullish sentiment, and I think it's really just waiting on that time to see price reflected in the value that HBAR is doing. A ton of bullish news over the past 2 weeks with HBAR. I'm very excited to keep covering that and continuing to be a part of it. Full disclaimer, we do hold HBAR as well. And we definitely are excited to see how HBAR and Hedera as a whole really separates itself from other blockchain projects. And I think there needs to be some clarity with everyone understanding that there's going to be multiple winners in this crypto race. It's not just going to be one. There's going to be multiple winners, and the key thing is interoperability, being able to speak to all of them. That's where the key is, and we're seeing that, and that's going to be a need as you look at governments on-ramping these blockchains. They're going to on-ramp blockchains that are interoperable, that are decentralized, that have zero downtime, right? So these are going to be some of the qualifiers, and Hedera is going to meet that. Cardano is going to meet that as well. And very excited to see that, especially with everything that we're seeing. Even we see Morgan Stanley switching gears. We're seeing companies switch gears when it comes to market sentiment, right? So when we see that, and then we see government saying, hey, we're going to have a conference, we're going to have a meeting about these crypto assets, right? And historically, we have October, historically known as Uptober, right? This is writing on the wall for what I believe is going to be a super cycle. I know people don't like to say that. People say 4-year cycle. People are in love with this 4-year cycle. I think it's just, I don't see how we maintain a 4-year cycle when the market conditions and the regulations and the adoption is far different than anything we've been a part of in previous 4-year cycles. It's not just us anymore. Right? Institutions are in, governments are in, whether they're saying it publicly or not now, they're in already for sure. So definitely want to dive into that, guys. Glad I was able to hop on here. Hope you guys got some value out of this video. Keep moving forward in everything that you do. See you soon.